Warsaw, September 1942. German Army Group Center controlled the city through checkpoints. 117 checkpoints across 12 districts. Soldiers searched men. They searched young people. They searched anyone who looked suspicious. They did not search middle-aged women carrying grocery baskets. That was their mistake. Maria Kowalska was 41 years old. Brown hair going gray, blue cotton dress, wicker basket. She walked through German checkpoints 41 times in 4 months. 0 arrests, 0 searches that found weapons. She carried 17 MP-40 submachine guns. Each gun weighed 8.8 pounds. Hidden under bread and turnips, the Germans never looked past the top layer. Trip 42 started at 5:30 in the morning on September 15th. Maria woke in a room with no heat, windows covered in newspaper because the glass had shattered in 1940. She dressed in the dark, blue dress, wool stockings with holes, shoes that were more cardboard than leather. Her daughter Zofia was already awake, 18 years old, 79 pounds, too thin. Everyone in Warsaw was too thin in 1942. Zofia worked 12 hours per day in a German textile factory. She earned 8 zloty per day. Before the war, 8 zloty bought dinner at a restaurant. Now it bought half a potato. "You are going to the market," Zofia said. "Yes, be careful, Mama." Zofia never asked what was in the basket. Maria never told her. If the Gestapo arrested Zofia, she could not confess what she did not know. Maria left the apartment at 6:01. The curfew ended at 6. Being on the street 1 minute early meant a bullet. No warning, no trial, just a body and a family that never found out what happened. She walked 3 blocks to a burned building. First floor destroyed, basement intact. She knocked on the metal door. 3 times. Pause. 2 times. A young man named Jacek opened the door. 20 years old. Scar across his left cheek from a German rifle butt. On a wooden crate sat an MP-40. German submachine gun. 32-round magazine. Rate of fire, 600 rounds per minute. Weight, 8.8 pounds. Maria had never fired a gun. She only needed to know how to hide it. Jacek had taught her the method. Disassemble into 4 pieces. Barrel, bolt assembly, trigger housing, stock. Wrap each piece separately in cloth. Place at bottom of basket. Add 2 loaves of bread. Add vegetables on top. If Germans searched, they only looked at the top layer. They saw food, nothing else. She had done this 41 times. 17 weapons delivered to resistance fighters. 4 weapons became 12 dead German soldiers at a supply depot on Gestapo Street. 6 weapons became an ambush that stopped a patrol truck on Siena Street. 7 weapons were still waiting for their operation. Until today. Jacek placed the 4 wrapped pieces into her basket. The metal made no sound against the cloth. He added bread on top, then carrots she would buy at the market to make the basket look legitimate. The address is Warsaw Street, Building 12, 3rd floor. Knock 4 times, wait, then 3 times. Man named Tomasz will answer. She repeated it. Warsaw 12, 3rd floor. 4 knocks, wait 3 knocks. Tomasz, do not write it down. I never write it down. Jacek looked at her. Patrols are heavier this week. Germans are angry about something. Be more careful. I am always careful. I know. That is why you are still alive. Maria took the basket. 15 pounds total. Her arm would be tired by Warsaw Street. Tired arms did not matter. Only delivery mattered. She climbed the stairs, back into the street. The sun was up. Gray light. Warsaw was always gray now. First checkpoint was Krakowska and Marszałkowska. 2 soldiers, teenagers, one smoking and watching a girl across the street, the other cleaning his rifle. Neither looked at Maria. She was 41 years old and invisible. They saw her the way they saw lampposts and paving stones, objects, not people. She walked past. The market was 3 blocks away. Old women sat behind wooden tables with almost nothing to sell. Potatoes, onions, turnips, beets, sometimes cabbage, never meat. Germans took all the meat. Maria stopped at Pani Wojcik's table. The old woman sold turnips. 4 turnips today. Good morning, Pani Kowalska. Good morning. How much for 2 turnips? 40 zloty. 40 zloty for 2 turnips. Insane. But money meant nothing now. Germans had printed so much occupation currency that a wheelbarrow of bills could not buy a chicken. Maria counted out coins. Pani Wojcik wrapped the turnips in newspaper and placed them in the basket. On top of the carrots, on top of the bread, on top of the gun barrel that could fire 600 rounds per minute if someone knew how to use it. Your son, Pani Wojcik said quietly. He is well? Code. Maria's son Piotr had died in September 1939. German artillery shell. He was 19. Now he was bones in the ground somewhere outside Modlin. No grave, no funeral. Just a notice that said he was dead. If Pani Wojcik asked about the son, it meant the route was clear. If she asked about Maria's husband, it meant danger. Abort the delivery. He is well, Maria said. Thank you. She picked up the basket, walked north toward Złota Street. This was where it went wrong. 3 German officers stood near the corner. Not soldiers, officers, gray uniforms, polished boots. One had pale blue eyes, maybe 30 years old. He looked at everyone who passed, really looked, like he was hunting for something specific. Maria had no choice. Turning around meant suspicion. Crossing the street meant suspicion. Only forward, 30 feet away. She forced slow breathing. In through nose, out through mouth. Look at the ground, not at them. Eye contact meant confidence. Confidence meant nothing to hide. Nothing to hide meant probably hiding something. German logic. 20 feet. She could hear them talking. German language. She understood German. Her father had forced her to learn it when she was 12. She had hated him for it. Now she was grateful every day. They were discussing a restaurant. One officer had eaten roast pork last night. Real pork. The other 2 were jealous. 15 feet. The pale-eyed officer stopped talking, turned his head, looked directly at her. She kept walking. Same pace. Same boring woman with boring vegetables. 10 feet. Stop. She stopped. Did not look up. You. Come here. He walked toward her. Boots made sharp sounds on cobblestones. Click, click, click. He stopped 1 foot away. She could see buttons on his uniform. Small coffee stain near the 2nd button. She focused on that stain. Not on his face. Not on his eyes. What are you carrying? He said in German. Vegetables, sir. And bread. Show me. This was it. The moment. 41 successful trips ended. The moment she went to Powiak prison for interrogation that lasted 3 days before they shot prisoners in the courtyard. Maria lifted the basket. Her hands were steady. She did not know how, but they were. She pulled back newspaper around the turnips, showed him the vegetables. Then she reached for the bread. His hand moved, reaching for the loaf, reaching for the crust that covered the cloth that covered the barrel of the MP40. His fingers moved closer. She could see lines in his skin, small scar on his thumb, individual blonde hairs on the back of his hand. 1 inch from the bread. The basket handle cut into her palm. She had gripped too tight. Her knuckles were white. She could not make them relax. 1/2 inch. His fingertip touched the crust. Stop. The word came from behind him. Another officer, older, gray hair at temples, holding a clipboard. We are late for the inspection on Siena Street. Come. The pale-eyed officer pulled his hand back, looked at Maria 1 more time. His eyes moved from basket to her face. She looked at the ground. He made a disgusted sound in his throat. Go. She walked, did not run. Running meant guilt. Running meant a bullet. She walked at exactly the same speed as every other woman on Kowalska Street that morning. Normal, invisible, nobody. Her legs were shaking so badly, she thought she would collapse. That was trip number 42. She turned into an alley, put her hand against a brick wall. Her legs gave out. She slid down to the ground, sat there for 30 seconds, maybe a year. Time had no meaning. Her whole body shook, her teeth chattered. Not from cold, from terror. Then she stood up, picked up the basket, walked to Building 12 on Zwoda Street. 3rd floor, 4 knocks, wait, 3 knocks. Door opened. Young man, thin face, dark eyes. Tomasz, you are late. There were patrols. He took the basket, unwrapped the cloth. MP40 pieces lay on the table. He picked up the barrel, examined it, nodded. Good. This is weapon number 17. We have enough now for the operation on Grzybowska Street next month. 12 men, 17 guns. We are hitting a German supply convoy. Ammunition, medicine, maybe food. Maria said nothing, did not ask what would happen, did not ask how many Germans would die, did not ask how many of the 12 men would survive. Same time next week? Tomasz asked. Yes. He handed her folded paper. Next delivery. Thursday. Different address. She put it in her pocket without reading. She walked back down the stairs, into the street. Sun was higher. More people were out. Warsaw was moving, pretending to be alive. Maria walked home. Nobody looked at her. Nobody remembered her face. She was 41 years old. Brown hair going gray, blue dress, wicker basket. One of 10,000 women in Warsaw, who all looked exactly the same. Invisible. In 4 months, she had moved 17 weapons past 42 German checkpoints, 17 MP40 submachine guns, 148 pounds of weapons total, hidden under bread and turnips and potatoes. The Germans searched her basket twice. Both times they only looked at the top layer. Both times they saw vegetables and waved her through. The resistance called her Koshik, the basket. The woman German soldiers never searched long enough to find what she was carrying. Today, one of them almost found it. Today his hand touched the bread. Today she was 1 second away from Powiat prison and execution. But she was still alive. And next Thursday she would do it again. Not because she was brave, not because she believed in Poland or freedom or resistance. She did it because Zofia was 18 years old and weighed 79 pounds. If Maria stopped making deliveries, her daughter would starve before winter. The 17 guns would kill Germans. The ammunition would destroy checkpoints. The grenades would blow apart patrol trucks. The resistance would use everything she delivered to fight the occupation. But Maria did not care about any of that. She cared about keeping Zofia alive 1 more week, 1 more month, 1 more winter. Everything else was noise. 3 weeks after trip, 42 Maria received a different assignment. Not a gun this time, something that made a sound. October 7th, 0500 hours. Same burned building, same basement, same knock pattern. 3 times pause 2 times. Jacek opened the door. He did not smile. He never smiled. But today, his face was harder than usual. On the wooden crate sat a package, brown paper wrapping, rectangular, size of a brick. Maria stared at it. What is it? Timer device, explosive. You do not need to know more than that. She kept staring. The package was making a sound. Quiet, regular, mechanical. Tick, tick, tick. How long? She asked. 45 minutes from when I activate it. Maybe 50. The mechanism is not exact. Maria did calculations in her head. Delivery address was Chepwa Street. 15 minutes away if she walked normal speed. 30 minutes if checkpoints delayed her. 45 minutes if they made her wait while they checked papers or searched other people. If they made her wait, the package would explode while she stood next to German soldiers. I cannot do this, she said. I have a daughter. If I die, she has nobody. Jacek reached into his coat, pulled out money. Not 50 zloty like the gun deliveries, 500 zloty. He placed it on the crate next to the ticking package. 500 zloty, 4 months of food, maybe 6 if they were careful. The difference between Zofia living until spring or dying in January when the cold came and there was no coal for heat. The package goes to Ciepła 18, 3rd floor. Knock 6 times fast. Woman will answer. You give her the basket. You leave. 15 minutes. You will be fine. Maria looked at the money, looked at the package, thought about Zofia. 79 pounds. Ribs showing through her dress. The way she fell asleep at the dinner table before finishing her soup, because 12 hours at the textile factory drained everything out of her. 4 months of food. Maria picked up the money, put it in her pocket, picked up the basket. Jacek activated the timer. The ticking got louder. Or maybe Maria just heard it louder because now she knew what it meant. Tick, tick, tick. She climbed the stairs. The April sun was too bright. Everything looked sharp and wrong. The buildings, the people, the German patrol on the corner smoking and laughing. She walked toward them. Tick, tick, tick. She could hear it over the street noise, over voices and footsteps and cartwheels on cobblestones. Maybe she was imagining it. Maybe the sound was only in her head. But she knew it was real. She knew exactly what would happen when the ticking stopped. First checkpoint. 2 soldiers. One glanced at her basket. The other was lighting a cigarette. Neither stopped her. She walked past. Tick, tick, tick. Her hands were shaking. The basket handle was slippery with sweat. Her palms were soaked. She could feel sweat running down her back even though it was cold. Her body was pouring sweat like she had a fever. How long had passed? 3 minutes? 5. She had no watch. Germans had confiscated all Polish watches in 1940. She tried counting seconds in her head. 1, 2, 3. Lost count at 20. Started over. Lost count again. Tick, tick, tick. Ciepła Street was 4 blocks away. She could see the corner. She walked faster, not running. Running meant suspicion, but faster. Longer steps. A German officer stepped out of a building 30 feet ahead. Maria's heart rate spiked. Gray uniform, officer cap. He was lighting a cigarette. Shook out the match, dropped it, looked up, looked directly at her. She kept walking. Same pace. Same boring woman with boring basket full of boring vegetables and a bomb that would turn her into red mist in maybe 30 minutes. Maybe 20. Maybe 10. The timer was not exact. The officer watched her approach. 20 feet, 15, still looking at her. Why was he looking? She was nobody, invisible. Look away, please look away. 10 feet. He stepped into her path. Stop. The world stopped. Time stopped. Everything stopped except the sound. Tick, tick, tick. Where are you going? The officer asked in German. To my sister's apartment, sir, on Ciepła Street. She is ill. I am bringing her food. What are you carrying? Vegetables, sir. Potatoes. She is sick. She needs to eat. He looked at the basket, took a step closer. She could smell his cigarette. Turkish tobacco. Expensive. He was young, maybe 25. Blonde hair, clean-shaven, well-fed, healthy. Like someone who had never missed a meal. Show me, he said. This was how she died. He would make her unwrap the potatoes. He would see the package, the brown paper. He would make her open it. He would see the timer, the wires, the explosive. Then he would shoot her. Or maybe he would not have time. Maybe the package would explode first. Maybe it would kill both of them. She lifted the basket toward him. A voice shouted from across the street. German, loud, Hauptmann, telephone. The officer turned his head. A soldier was standing in a doorway waving at him. Berlin is calling, sir. They said urgent. The officer looked back at Maria, looked at the basket, looked annoyed. Go. She walked. Her legs were shaking so hard she thought they would fold, but they held. She walked around the corner onto Tiepwa Street. Building 18 was halfway down the block. She could see it. Tick, tick, tick. She reached the building, pushed through the door. The stairs were narrow, dark. She climbed. First floor, second floor. Her breath was coming in gasps. Her chest hurt. Her vision was going dark at the edges. Third floor. She knocked. 6 times. Fast. The door opened immediately. A woman stood there. 40 years old. Maybe older. Thin. Gray hair pulled back. She looked at Maria, looked at the basket. Inside. Now. Maria stepped through the door. The woman took the basket from her hands, carried it across the room to a table near the window. She moved fast, confident, like she had done this before. She pulled back the potatoes, unwrapped the brown paper. Inside was a metal cylinder, wires, a clock face. The hands were moving. Tick, tick, tick. The woman examined it for 5 seconds. Then she twisted something, pulled a wire. The ticking stopped. The silence was so loud Maria thought she had gone deaf. "How long were you carrying this?" the woman asked. "I do not know. 10 minutes, maybe 15. The woman looked at the clock face on the device. "You had 6 minutes left." 6 minutes. Maria's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the floor. Her whole body was shaking. Her teeth were chattering. The room was spinning. She put her head between her knees and tried not to vomit. The woman crouched next to her. "First time with a timer?" Maria nodded. Could not speak. "It gets easier." "How?" "It does not." I lied. The woman handed her a glass of water. "Drink, then go. Do not come back here. This address is burned now." Maria drank. The water tasted like metal. Or maybe that was just the taste of fear in her mouth. She stood up. Her legs held. Barely. "You earned the money," the woman said. Maria looked at the metal cylinder on the table. The device that had been ticking in her basket for 15 minutes. The device that would have killed her and everyone within 20 feet if the German officer had delayed her for 6 more minutes. She walked out, down the stairs, into the street. The sun was still shining. People were still walking. Carts were still rolling. Warsaw was still pretending to be alive. Nothing had changed, except Maria had just carried a bomb past 2 German checkpoints and an officer who had stopped her and looked at her basket. And she had survived with 6 minutes to spare. 6 minutes. That was October. The 3rd delivery with a timer device. The first time she understood that this work was not just dangerous, it was not just illegal. It was something that could erase her from existence in 1 second. No warning, no trial, no execution. Just gone. Vaporized. Nothing left but a crater in the street and pieces too small to identify. And she had done it anyway. For 500 zloty. For 4 months of food. For Zofia. That night she went home. Zofia was already asleep. Maria sat at the table in the dark and counted the money. 500 zloty. She divided it in her head. 50 zloty per week. 10 weeks of food. Maybe 12 if she was careful. Bread, potatoes, maybe some beets. Maybe a little meat if she was lucky. Worth it. She told herself it was worth it. Over the next 3 months she carried 6 more timer devices. Same technique, same route, different addresses. The Germans never suspected that a middle-aged woman with a grocery basket was carrying explosives through their checkpoints. By January 1943, those 6 devices had destroyed 2 German ammunition depots, 1 fuel storage facility, and 3 staff cars carrying officers who made decisions about which neighborhoods to raid. The resistance stopped calling her Koshik. They started calling her Zegar, the clock, the woman who carried time bombs hidden under vegetables. Maria hated the new nickname even more than the first one. It made her sound like she was doing something important. Like, she mattered. She did not matter. She was just a mother trying to keep her daughter alive in a city that was trying to kill them both. But the Germans still never searched her basket past the top layer. And that was their second mistake. January 1943. Maria woke to knocking. Not her door. The door across the hall. Apartment 4, Pani Wojcik, the old woman who sold turnips at the market. The woman who gave the signals. The knocking was wrong, too hard, too loud, the kind of knocking that meant one thing. Gestapo. Maria sat up in bed. The room was dark. No light through the newspaper-covered windows yet. Early morning, maybe 5. The curfew had not lifted. Nobody knocked during curfew unless they had permission to be on the streets. Only Germans had that permission. The knocking stopped. Then voices, men, German, shouting, "Raus, raus, schnell." A crash. The sound of a door breaking, wood splintering, hinges tearing from the frame. Then Pani Wojcik screaming. Old voice, frightened, a slap, sharp crack of hand hitting face. The screaming stopped. Footsteps in the hallway, heavy boots, multiple men. They were dragging someone, Pani Wojcik. She was crying now, begging, "Please, I am 70 years old. Please, I have done nothing." A German voice, cold, calm. "You will tell us everything, now or later. Everyone talks eventually." The footsteps went down the stairs. The building door slammed. Then silence. Maria sat frozen. Across the room, Zofia was awake, sitting up, staring at the door. Her face was white. "Mama, be quiet." They sat in darkness and listened. No more sounds. The Gestapo had taken Pani Wojcik and left. But they would come back. They always came back. They would search the building, every apartment, looking for evidence, looking for connections, looking for anyone who knew the old woman. And Pani Wojcik knew Maria. She knew Maria's face. She knew Maria came to the market every week. She knew Maria bought turnips and received signals about whether deliveries were safe. She did not know what Maria was delivering. She did not know the addresses. She did not know about Jacek or Tomasz. But she knew enough. If the Gestapo tortured her, she would talk. Not because she was weak, because everyone talked eventually. The Gestapo had ways of making 70-year-old women confess things they did not even know. Maria stood up, dressed fast, same blue dress, same wool stockings, same cardboard shoes. She pulled money from its hiding place behind the loose brick in the wall. 430 zloty. Everything she had earned from the last deliveries. Not enough. Never enough. But all she had. "What are you doing?" Zofia whispered. "We are leaving." "Where?" "Away from here. Pack your things. Only what you can carry. 1 bag. Nothing heavy." "Mama, what is happening?" Maria looked at her daughter. 18 years old. 79 pounds. Hollow cheeks. Dark circles under her eyes. The Gestapo took Pani Wojcik. "She knows me. She knows I come to the market. If they ask her about me, she will tell them. She will not want to, but they will make her. We have to leave before they come back. Where will we go? I do not know, but we cannot stay here." They packed in silence. 1 bag each, clothes, a blanket, a little food, some bread, half a potato. That was all they had. Maria wrapped the money in cloth and put it in her pocket. She looked around the apartment one last time. 22 years. This had been home for 22 years. Now she was abandoning it, running, because an old woman who sold turnips had been arrested, and Maria's face was burned into that woman's memory. She opened the door, checked the hallway. Empty. No sounds from other apartments. Everyone was hiding. When the Gestapo came to a building, people locked their doors and stayed silent and prayed the knock would not come for them. Maria and Zofia went down the stairs, slowly, quietly. The building door was hanging open. The Gestapo had kicked it in. It would stay broken. Nobody would fix it. They stepped into the street. The sky was getting light. Gray dawn. The curfew would lift in 30 minutes. But they could not wait. If the Gestapo came back and found them here, they were dead. Maria walked north, away from the building, away from Krakowska Street, away from the market. Zofia followed. They kept their heads down, walked fast, not running. Running meant suspicion. A voice behind them. "Halt!" They stopped. Maria's pulse spiked. She turned around slowly. A German soldier, young, maybe 20, rifle on his shoulder. He was walking toward them. His boots made sharp sounds on the cobblestones. Click, click, click. "Curfew is not lifted," he said in bad Polish. "Why are you on the street?" Maria's throat was dry. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She could see his face clearly. Blonde hair, blue eyes, small scar on his chin. He was chewing gum. His jaw moved slowly. His eyes moved from Maria to Zofia. Back to Maria. Down to the bags they were carrying. He reached for his belt. Leather pouch. He was going to ask for papers. If he looked at their papers, he would see the address. The building the Gestapo had just raided. He would ask why they were leaving. He would take them back. He would hand them over. "My daughter is sick," Maria said. "I am taking her to the hospital." The soldier stopped chewing, looked at Zofia. Really looked. His eyes moved up and down, taking in her thin frame, her hollow face, her pale skin. Everyone in Warsaw looked sick now, thin, exhausted, starving. It was not a lie. It was truth used as camouflage. "Which hospital?" "Spital Dzieciątka Jesus, on Lindlea Street." The soldier stared at Zofia for a long moment. His hand was still on the leather pouch. He could pull out a radio. "Call an officer. Have them both arrested in 60 seconds. His jaw started moving again, chewing. He looked bored now, tired, early morning shift, cold. He probably wanted to go back to the barracks, sleep, eat breakfast, not deal with 2 Polish women on an empty street. He pulled his hand away from the pouch. "Go. Fast, before an officer sees you." Maria walked, did not run, did not look back, focused on breathing. 1 block, 2 blocks, 3. Her legs were shaking. The bag felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. They reached Lindlea Street. The hospital was ahead. Large stone building, half the windows broken, boarded up with plywood. It had been hit by German bombs in 1939. "Are we really going inside?" Zofia asked. "No, we are going past it." Then east, toward Praga. They crossed the river on Kierbedzia Bridge. German soldiers were stationed at both ends, checking papers, searching bags. Maria's heart was pounding. This was it. This was where they would get caught. 2 women with bags. No good reason to cross into Praga at dawn. But the soldiers were bored. Early morning shift. They glanced at papers, waved people through. They did not search bags. They did not ask questions. Maria and Zofia walked across the bridge. Nobody stopped them. They crossed into Praga. The streets were different here. Narrower, darker, more damaged. Entire blocks had been flattened in the invasion. Nobody had cleared the rubble. People just built shacks in the ruins. Scrap wood, tin sheets, cloth, anything that could make a roof. Maria walked until she found what she was looking for. A building that was half collapsed. The ground floor was gone, just a shell, but the basement had stairs leading down. She went down. Zofia followed. The basement was dark, cold. It smelled like rot and urine and smoke. There were people here, maybe 10, maybe more, sitting against the walls, lying on the floor. Refugees, people with nowhere else to go. They looked up when Maria and Zofia entered, then looked away. Nobody asked questions. Questions were dangerous. Maria found a corner, sat down. Zofia sat next to her. They put their bags between them. This was home now, a basement, a corner. Strangers who did not care who they were or why they were here. Maria pulled the cloth-wrapped money from her pocket. 430 zloty. She counted it twice. The bills were worn, thin. Some had tears, but they were real. Enough for maybe 6 weeks if they were careful. Maybe 8 if they ate almost nothing. 6 weeks. Then what? She could not go back to the apartment. The Gestapo would be watching it. She could not go to the market. The whole network was burned. She could not make deliveries anymore. Her face was known. Pani Wojcik had seen her 40 times. Brown hair going gray, blue dress, wicker basket, 41 years old. Right now the Gestapo was torturing that old woman, asking her questions, breaking her piece by piece. How long could a 70-year-old woman last? A day, 2 days, not long. And when she broke, the Gestapo would have Maria's description. They would circulate it to every checkpoint, every patrol, every soldier in Warsaw. They would search every market, every street, every building. Maria had maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3. Then her face would be on a wanted notice. She looked around the basement. 10 people, maybe 12, all hiding, all running from something. A man in the corner was coughing, wet, heavy, tuberculosis probably. A woman near the stairs was holding a baby. The baby was not moving, not crying. Maria could not tell if it was asleep or dead. This was what Warsaw had become. Basements full of people waiting to die. Zofia leaned against her shoulder. She was shivering. It was cold in the basement. No heat. No blankets except the one they had brought. Maria put her arm around her daughter, pulled her close. "Mama," Zofia whispered. "What do we do now?" Maria looked at the money in her hand. 430 zloty, 6 weeks of survival, maybe 8. Then she looked at the stairs. At the street above, where German patrols were searching for a woman with a wicker basket, who had moved 17 guns and 6 bombs through their checkpoints without them ever knowing. "I do not know," Maria said. For the first time in 4 months she was telling the truth. She did not know what happened next. The resistance called her Zegar, the clock, the woman who carried time bombs. But her time had just run out. 5 days in the basement. Maria counted them by light coming through cracks in the ceiling. Dawn, day, dusk, dark, repeat. The money was disappearing. 430 zloty became 380, then 310. Food cost more in Praga. Everything cost more when you had no papers that said you were supposed to be there. Zofia was getting worse. The cough started on day 3, small at first, then deeper, wet. She tried to hide it, covered her mouth. But Maria heard it every night in the dark basement. No medicine, no doctor. Doctors asked questions. Questions meant papers. Papers meant addresses. Addresses meant the Gestapo finding them. On day 6, someone knocked on the broken door at the top of the stairs. Everyone in the basement froze. The knock came again, 3 times. Pause. 2 times. Maria's heart stopped. That was the signal, the resistance signal, the same pattern she had used at Jacek's door 47 times. But nobody in the resistance knew she was here. She had not made contact, had not sent word. The network was burned. Pani Wojcik was probably dead by now. Jacek was probably arrested. Tomasz probably executed. The knock came a 3rd time, 3 times, pause, 2 times. Maria stood up, walked to the stairs, climbed slowly. The other people in the basement watched her, silent. If this was a Gestapo trap, they would all die. She reached the door, put her hand on the wood. "Who is there?" she whispered in Polish. "Someone who needs a delivery." The voice was male, young, not German, Polish accent, Warsaw dialect. Maria opened the door a crack. A young man stood there, maybe 22, thin face, dark hair, scar on his neck. She had never seen him before. "How did you find me?" she asked. "Jacek sent me." "Jacek is alive." "Yes." "He was not at the safe house when the Gestapo raided it. He sent me to find you. He said you would be in Praga." He said to check the basements near the river. This is the fourth one I tried. What does he want? One more delivery. Then he will get you and your daughter out of Warsaw. Fake papers. Transport south. Away from the occupation zone. Maria stared at him. Fake papers cost money. Transport cost more. Thousands of zloty. Maybe 10,000. She had 310 zloty left. I cannot pay for that, she said. You already did. 47 deliveries, 17 guns, 6 explosives. The resistance owes you. This is payment. What is the delivery? The young man pulled a folded paper from his coat, handed it to her. She unfolded it. An address, Kowalska Street, Building 23, second floor, and a date, February 9th, 3 days from now. What am I carrying? Documents, intelligence, German patrol schedules, checkpoint rotations, supply convoy routes, everything the resistance collected in 4 months. It goes to a contact who will get it to the government in exile in London. If it arrives, the Allies will know exactly where to hit German logistics in Warsaw. If it does not arrive, the intelligence is worthless. Why me? My face is known. The Gestapo is looking for me. The young man looked at her. Really looked. Yes. They are looking for a woman with brown hair, blue dress, wicker basket, 41 years old. That is the description Pani Wojcik gave them before she died. She is dead? 2 days ago, Pawiak prison. She lasted longer than anyone expected. 70 years old, and she only gave them your description after 3 days of interrogation. She did not give them your name. She did not know it. She did not give them your address. She forgot it. Dementia, real or faked. The Gestapo could not tell. They shot her. Maria felt something cold settle in her chest. Pani Wojcik, the old woman who sold turnips, who gave signals, who had protected Maria's identity even while being tortured. The young man kept talking. The Gestapo is looking for that woman. Brown hair, blue dress, basket. But you are not going to be that woman anymore. He pulled a package from under his coat, handed it to Maria. She opened it. Inside was a blonde wig, a black dress, and a leather handbag. Expensive, the kind German wives carried. You will walk through checkpoints as a different person. Blonde, black dress, handbag instead of basket. The Gestapo is looking for a Polish peasant woman. You will look like a German woman. They will not search their own. This is insane, Maria said. Yes, but it is the only way. The documents must reach Kowalska 23 by February 9th, or the intelligence expires. Patrol schedules change. Convoy routes rotate. After February 9th, the information is useless. 3 days. Maria looked at the package. The wig, the dress, the handbag. What happens if I say no? The young man shrugged. Then we find someone else. But nobody else has made 47 deliveries without getting caught. Nobody else knows how to be invisible. You are the best we have. Maria thought about Zofia, coughing in the basement. 79 pounds, getting thinner. The fever that had started last night. If I do this, you get us out. Fake papers, transport, both of you, away from Warsaw. We have a safe house in Kielce, small town, quiet. The occupation there is lighter. You can disappear. Maria took the package. February 9th, Kowalska 23, second floor. The young man nodded. Knock pattern is different. 4 times. Pause. Once. Man named Stefan will answer. Give him the handbag. Leave. Do not talk. Do not stay. Just deliver and go. Where do I pick up the documents? Same burned building. Jacek will be there. Tomorrow at 0500. Same knock. He will give you the documents and instructions. The young man turned and walked away. Disappeared into the Praga streets. Maria stood at the door, holding the package. Blonde wig, black dress, handbag. She went back down to the basement. Zofia was asleep, shivering under the thin blanket. Her face was pale. sweat on her forehead. The fever was getting worse. Maria sat next to her daughter and opened the package again. The wig was real hair. Good quality. The dress was wool, clean, well made. The handbag was leather, German-made, expensive. She tried on the wig. It fit. She looked at her reflection in a piece of broken mirror someone had left in the corner. Blonde hair. She looked different, older, harder, like a German woman who had lived through the war and stopped caring about anything except survival. Perfect. February 7th, 0500 hours. Maria left Zofia sleeping in the basement and walked to the burned building. Same route she had used 47 times before. But this time she wore the blonde wig and black dress. The handbag hung from her shoulder. German soldiers saw her. 3 different patrols. None of them stopped her. None of them asked for papers. They saw blonde hair and a black dress and assumed she was German, or Polish but acceptable. Collaborator, translator. Someone allowed to be on the streets before curfew ended. She reached the building. Knocked 3 times. Pause. 2 times. Jacek opened the door. He looked older, thinner. The scar on his cheek was darker. He stared at Maria for 3 seconds before recognizing her. "The wig works," he said. She stepped inside. On the wooden crate sat a leather folder. Documents, papers, maps, dozens of pages. "This is 4 months of intelligence," Jacek said. "Patrol schedules for every district, checkpoint rotation patterns, supply convoy routes and timing, fuel depot locations, ammunition storage, officer housing, everything." He placed the folder inside the handbag. It fit perfectly. He added a compact mirror on top, lipstick, a handkerchief. Things a German woman would carry. If they search the bag, they will see the mirror first, the lipstick. They will not look deeper. Germans do not search German women carefully. It offends their sense of order. Maria took the handbag. It was heavier now, maybe 3 pounds. Kowalska 23, February 9th. 4 knocks, pause 1 knock. Stefan. Jacek nodded. "After you deliver, come back here. I will have your papers ready. You and Zofia leave Warsaw that night." "What about you?" "I stay. Someone has to rebuild the network. They will catch you eventually." Jacek smiled. It was the first time Maria had ever seen him smile. It looked wrong on his face. Sad. "Yes. Eventually, but not today." Maria left. Walked back to the basement. The wig itched. The dress was too tight. But she looked different. She felt different. Not invisible anymore. Visible, but wrong. A lie walking through the streets. She spent the next 2 days practicing. Walking with the handbag. Posture. Germans walked differently. Straight, confident, like they owned the streets. Maria practiced that walk. Shoulders back, head up, eyes forward. Not looking at the ground. Not invisible. Zofia watched from the corner. Too weak to stand now. The fever had not broken. She needed medicine. She needed food. She needed to leave Warsaw before she died in a basement surrounded by strangers. February 9th arrived. Maria woke at 0400, put on the black dress, the blonde wig, checked her reflection. She looked German. She hated it. She picked up the handbag, 3 pounds of intelligence that could change the war, or get her killed. She kissed Zofia on the forehead. The girl was burning up. Fever, infection, something. "I will be back in 3 hours, Maria whispered. "Then we leave, I promise." Zofia nodded, could not speak. Too weak. Maria climbed the stairs, into the street. Dawn, light, gray sky. Warsaw looked the same as always. Broken, cold, occupied. She walked toward Kowalska Street. Shoulders back, head up. Confident stride. German walk. First checkpoint. 3 soldiers. One looked at her. Looked at the blonde hair. The black dress. Waved her through without asking for papers. Second checkpoint. 2 soldiers. Neither looked at her. She was invisible again, but for a different reason. Too German to bother searching, she reached Marszałkowska Street. Building 23 was in the middle of the block. Tall, stone, undamaged. One of the few buildings in Warsaw that had survived the invasion intact. She climbed to the second floor, knocked 4 times. Pause. 1 knock. The door opened. A man stood there, 50 years old, gray hair, glasses. He looked like a professor, calm, educated. "Stefan?" Maria asked. He nodded. She handed him the handbag. He took it, opened it, pulled out the compact mirror, the lipstick, the handkerchief, then the leather folder underneath. He opened the folder, scanned the first page. His eyes widened. "This is everything," he whispered. Maria said nothing, turned to leave. "Wait." She stopped. Stefan reached into his coat, pulled out an envelope, handed it to her. "For Jacek. Payment for the network. Enough to rebuild." Maria took the envelope. It was thick, heavy. Money. A lot of money. She walked down the stairs, into the street. The handbag was gone. The documents were delivered. 4 months of intelligence was now in Stefan's hands. In 3 days it would be in London. The Allies would know where to strike. German logistics in Warsaw would be exposed, and Maria was done. She walked back toward Praga. Faster now. The wig was suffocating. The dress felt like a prison. She wanted to tear them off. Go back to being invisible. She reached the basement. Zofia was awake, sitting up. Someone had given her water. An old woman, one of the refugees. "Mama." Maria pulled off the wig, dropped the dress, put on her old blue dress, the one with holes, the one that made her invisible. "We are leaving," she said. "Tonight." That night, Jacek met them at the burned building. He had papers, 2 sets, new names, new addresses, a travel permit, all forged but good quality. "There is a truck, leaving at midnight," he said. "Food transport. You will hide in the back. The driver knows. He will take you to Kielce. There is a woman there named Anna. She will give you a room. Work. You will be safe." Maria handed him the envelope from Stefan. Jacek opened it. His face did not change. He put the envelope in his coat. 48 deliveries, he said. 17 guns, 6 bombs, 1 intelligence folder that will save lives. The resistance thanks you. "I did not do it for the resistance," Maria said. "I know. You did it for her." He looked at Zofia. "That is why you were perfect. You had a reason that mattered." At midnight, a truck arrived. The driver was old, 60, maybe older. He did not ask questions, just opened the back and pointed. Inside were crates, food, vegetables, potatoes, turnips. "Hide behind the crates," he said. "Do not make noise. Checkpoints will search, but not carefully. Stay quiet." Maria and Zofia climbed in. The driver closed the door. Darkness. The truck drove, stopped at checkpoints. German voices, boots on metal, flashlights scanning the cargo. But they did not move the crates, did not search deep enough. After 2 hours, the truck stopped. The door opened. The driver looked in. "We are outside the city. You can sit up now." Maria sat up. Through the gap in the door, she could see fields, trees, no buildings, no checkpoints, no patrols. They had left Warsaw. The truck drove for 6 more hours. At dawn, it stopped in a small town, Kielce. Quiet, undamaged, like the war had forgotten this place existed. A woman met them, Anna, 45 years old, kind eyes. She led them to a small house on a quiet street. "This is yours," she said. "Room upstairs. I have work at a bakery. You can help. It pays enough." Maria and Zofia climbed the stairs. The room was small, clean, a bed, a window with real glass, no newspaper, no cracks. Zofia lay down, closed her eyes. For the first time in months, she looked peaceful. Maria sat by the window, looked out at the street. No soldiers, no patrols, no checkpoints. Warsaw was 160 kilometers north. The resistance was still fighting. The Germans were still searching for a woman with brown hair and a wicker basket. But Maria was gone. She had made 48 deliveries, moved 17 guns and 6 bombs and 1 intelligence folder through 48 German checkpoints without ever being caught. The Gestapo never found out her real name. They never found her apartment. They never connected her to the weapons that killed their soldiers or the bombs that destroyed their depots. All they had was a description from a dying old woman. Brown hair, blue dress, wicker basket. A ghost who walked through their checkpoints carrying death, hidden under vegetables. Maria never made another delivery. She worked at the bakery in Kielce until the war ended. Zofia recovered. They survived. In 1945, when the war was over, Maria heard rumors. The intelligence she had delivered in February 1943 had reached London. The Allies had used it to plan airstrikes on German supply lines. Depots destroyed, convoys ambushed. The occupation in Warsaw had weakened. 1 folder, 1 delivery. 1 woman who looked German long enough to walk past soldiers who never suspected her. The official record called it Allied intelligence success. The truth was simpler. 1 mother with a handbag and 48 trips through hell to keep her daughter alive. Maria made 48 trips, carrying weapons and explosives through German checkpoints. 48 times she walked past soldiers who could have searched her basket. 48 times they saw vegetables and waved her through. But here is what nobody talks about. How many other women did exactly this and succeeded so completely that history never recorded their names? The best intelligence operatives are the ones nobody remembers. If you think you know another story like this, write it in the comments with sources. Real stories only. Subscribe if you want more history about people who changed wars without ever appearing in textbooks. Next week, 1 priest crippled 12 German units in 30 days using only church repair tools. They saw a harmless old man. Big mistake.